Well, first of all, what kind of mythical powers does a Sun Devil have? We got to consider that.
Y'all don't remember the Georgia Southern game, do you?
You know, I hope there's Bigfoot. I don't think there is.
Like rat poison. All right, so
It's Division One football! It ain't intramurals!
That is right. March Madness is in full swing, and we are talking Division I college football. Man, it's a great day to be back. The Hoppy Huddle returns. I know we're being a little more periodical about our episodes, considering this is the downtime. We've got some spring practices rolling. We get some spring games coming up here soon.
Can we stop the freak out about Brown's throwing motion down in Auburn? He'll be fine.
Yeah, no one was freaking out about that.
Oh no, the internet's freaking out about how he throws the ball.
Well, I can tell you that in college, if you have an ugly throwing motion and score touchdowns, nobody cares. So,
Yeah, I know. But Auburn fans are already freaking out. Come on, dude. It's week one or whatever week it is.
I think they're a little bored there out on the plains, but
yeah, it will be
Anyway.
fine. He'll be able to move the ball on Auburn's offense. Oh my goodness. You know it's spring football when you get criticisms of that.
Yes. When you start getting analysis of arm angles and then not looking to if they caught the ball or what play they were running, or yeah. But we're back today. We're gonna talk win totals and our Sweet 16 quarterback brackets. So we made brackets for this is Sweet 16 and Elite 8 week. We made QB brackets for our top 16 quarterbacks going into 2026. And I didn't mind based on how I think they will do in 2026. Or who's best, I guess. Depending on how you think you want to rank that. But we'll have that coming up here in a little bit. But I think first, if we want to talk, unless you have any news that you've been watching, I've been off social media. So if there's been any major news,
it's been relatively quiet. I don't think. I mean, nothing. There's always little news here and there, but nothing of any consequence.
Okay.
I mean, we haven't. No, nothing big going on.
Gotcha. All right. Well, I think we can hit win totals. I've got them pulled up here, and let's see.
You want to go conference by conference, or
let's do conference by conference.
Okay.
And if you give me 1 second, I'm trying out new screen sharing. So let's see if this works. Can you see that?
I can see it.
Look at that. Fantastic. Let's start with the Big Ten. Big Ten win totals at 10.5. We have Oregon and Indiana. No arguments from me here. Indiana's, I think, is a little more schedule dependent. They don't have the most difficult schedule in college football, but you also can't argue with their results, right? Indiana, national champions, undefeated. What else can you really say, right? So, Oregon, they returned Dante Moore and a very talented offense and defense while losing two coordinators. So there's a lot of talent back. It's a very talented team. Dan Lanning's an elite head coach. You lose two coordinators, still 10.5 wins. What are your thoughts on the 10.5s?
I was trying to pull up Indiana's schedule here real quick. I think that I don't know if let me look at their schedule because Oregon I don't have any problem with. I don't know that Indiana's got to go to Michigan, they got to go to Washington, they play USC, and they play Ohio State, and they go to Nebraska. I think that 10.5 is a stretch for Indiana next year. I still think they're going to be good. And I think it's a 9 or 10 win team, but do I think 10.5 feels tough for that team?
Yeah, I mean that's pretty difficult.
I think Oregon feels about right. I think Ohio State, 9.5, that kind of feels about right, or maybe again they're never going to put them at 10. 10-2 feels right on the money for Ohio State, maybe 11-1. I mean, I can see 10.5, 9.5 feels good.
Yeah,
the Penn State one, I think this one I did look at their schedule last week. Let me pull it back up here. At Big 12, not Big 10. Where did I go? Big 10, Penn State. Penn State's got a sneaky schedule. I think that's why they're getting 9.5 is because they're clearly no problems on the outset. They have USC and Michigan.
Yeah.
but they avoid Oregon and Ohio State. So I think Penn State's is one where you look at it 9.5, and it really is super schedule dependent. So if they hit on everything, if Matt Campbell can get some things going early, I think they could get to 9. Could hit that over. So I think that's why.
Okay.
I certainly like USC's talent. I think you've got an opportunity for USC to hit the over. I don't know. I think Illinois drops back a little bit. Washington, I just don't know what to expect with them if they can get things cleared
The
up.
thing with Illinois though is we've kind of been expecting a drop back for like 2 years now, and they really haven't. And so I'm not sure if I can just expect them to drop back again. Like I know we should, that's hypothetically, Illinois, great season, but Brett Bielema he's coached them up every single year, and we kind of expect them to fall back last year, and they really had another great season. So
yeah, but they have Ohio State, they have Oregon. The schedule's not terrible, but then they've got Iowa, so it's not a terrible schedule. But I think they graduated a lot of talent on defense. Should they graduate? A lot of talent left on defense, whether it's graduation or just their eligibility was up.
Okay.
So I think Michigan, I think that feels pretty spot on. I feel like that's an 8 to 9 win team if they really maximize it. That doesn't feel like, so I feel like that they got it. I think Vegas gets that stuff right. And at the bottom, I have no idea. Nebraska feels low. That's the one in the bottom group.
I don't know, man.
I think I'm going to believe in the Calandria's coming in. I think they're going to be. I think last year they were going to be
Anthony Calandria.
I think sometimes you fall into a good quarterback. So here's the deal: they were okay last year. Torreola got hurt. He got hurt. The wheels kind of
right. They don't have him again.
No, I know. But I look at the schedule. They get Indiana at home. They go to Oregon.
Indiana at home is a 30-point loss.
I understand. Last year, we don't know about this year. But then they get the rest of the schedule. Washington's at home. Illinois may not be the same. Ohio State at Iowa. I just don't know. I feel like it's more of a 7-win team than a 5.5.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess we can disagree on that. I think it's the right where they are. I think they probably go 5 wins, and I think Matt Rule is about to get fired on the hot seat after next year. I don't think he gets fired, but I think he'll be on the hot seat after next year.
I guess, and I just don't. I guess if I were to look, I think the ones that are probably overstated to me seem like Indiana slightly, maybe Penn State.
Iowa seems about right. Washington seems about right.
I think
I could see
values in Nebraska.
Yeah.
And, I still like Ohio State. I mean, when was the last time they lost? They were below 10 games.
Yeah, you're right. But the Big Ten is so good at the top now. It's tough.
Do they still have Julian Sayin?
Yeah.
Do they still have Jeremiah Smith?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they'll be okay.
They'll get 10 wins.
Yeah,
that's my
they'll get 10
thought.
wins. 10-2 will be possible. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. So Big Ten. Let's go down to the SEC. Now, SEC. No 10.5s.
No.
Also, no 3.5s.
No, that seems about right.
So
Georgia and Texas feel about right.
Yeah, I agree. I think. Yeah, I don't know. I could see Georgia going under, honestly. I don't know, though. I'm not a huge. I don't think Stockton is just a game breaker at quarterback. I think he's okay.
Okay, FanDuel has Florida at 7.5.
Yeah, they opened at 6.5. They're up now.
Yeah, because I think, if I could get them at 6.5 now, I'd love that.
They opened at 6.5. By the way,
I think, 6.5 would be a great deal. 7.5 feels better. I think they may actually they can be better than that.
I think it's interesting having A&M at 8.5, Oklahoma at 7.5. That's kind of two teams that you would kind of put on the same tier, in my opinion.
Agreed.
I honestly would have more faith in Oklahoma than A&M because I think Mateer's a better quarterback. I think, they both have solid defenses. I think Oklahoma's just kind of shown a higher ceiling. They made the playoff, right?
Well, so did A&M. So.
I know, but
but they've stumbled down the stretch. A&M, yeah, I think that they should definitely be on the same tier. Yeah, I don't have any real problems with those in front of me. There's high expectations for LSU, but 8.5 seems. Boy, you better get to 8 wins at least.
Yeah, dude. If they end the season in 8 wins after what they just did with Lane Kiffin, people are gonna be pissed. They better get to 9 wins.
I guess the biggest one just on that list, I think Florida would be the one I'd have an issue with. I feel like
I think Florida and Ole Miss you probably swap there.
Ole Miss may come back a little bit. I think Florida's could be a sneaky playoff team if the schedule works okay towards their favor this year. And if things click a little bit, they've got some ability on offense.
I think there's a potential here with Ole Miss. I think Pete Golding's a good coach, but with them, they've lost some key pieces on their defense to LSU end of the draft. And I think there's a potential here where every other team in the SEC has upgraded and descended in the offseason, and Ole Miss has kind of just like tread water, kind of maintain maybe slight downgrade. And you could see them get junked by 3 or 4 teams. You could see Missouri do better than them. You could see Tennessee do better than Vanderbilt. Like some of these teams in the 6.5 could all finish ahead of Ole Miss by the end of the season if all those teams upgraded across the board and Ole Miss kind of feel like they just maintain, they tread water, they lost some good guys. So I'm not sure. I think Pete Golding is a good coach, and I think long-term, I think they'll be fine. I just think this year may be kind of a rebuilding year for Ole Miss, unfortunately.
Yeah, and the only unders I think South Carolina and Kentucky both could be under 5.5.
Yeah, 5.5 seems high for Kentucky. I would take them over at 4.5, but I just don't see them getting 5.5.
And I think Shane Beamer's probably on the hot seat at 5.5.
Yeah, but again, Lenore Sellers is back, so he is an X factor. He could definitely win some games, and again, those 6.5 and 5.5, the people that finish at the bottom of that stack are going to be really, really angry at the end of the season. The people that finish at the top are going to feel like, man, we were just this close to the playoff, and in reality, what's going to separate them are like maybe a field goal.
Yeah.
So
can't wait. 9 games.
It's going to be
finally
insane.
SEC plays 9 games.
Like, what is the difference between South Carolina and then a Tennessee or Missouri at home at South Carolina? Like, is that a 6-point game? Like,
yeah, I know. Yeah, it depends. You're
right. And that one game can flip the whole, so there's tons of possibilities. I'm excited. I think Arkansas is going to struggle. I think Arkansas will be the bottom of the SEC. I think Mississippi State will be better than Arkansas, in my opinion.
Probably so. I agree.
But anyway, next up, let's talk about the ACC and Notre Dame. Notre Dame, 11.5. Shocker, right? The 2 big games for Notre Dame are Miami and USC, right?
They got BYU on the road, I believe.
Okay. But the rest of their schedule is pretty easy from what I can remember.
Yeah, 11.5 feels about right given that schedule.
Especially the weapons they're bringing in on offense. We're going to get to it in a little bit, but I am very high on CJ Carr coming into next year. He was fantastic last year when he basically didn't have any elite wide receivers to throw the ball to. They brought in some guys for him. He was a true freshman last year, and he had incredible poise. He's a sleeper for the Heisman, in my opinion, especially being at Notre Dame. I think he could put up great numbers against an easy schedule. He could rack up the numbers, and if he performs in the big games, he could be right there with the best quarterbacks in the country, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think a lot of those at the top. Miami feels about right. SMU feels about fine. I think it's 7.5 group. I think sorry,
too high for Cal.
Yeah, it's a little high for Cal. I think it's too high for Virginia. I don't believe they'll hit that mark.
I feel like Pitt goes 7-5 or 8-4 every year. So that sounds about right.
Yeah, and Clemson. I don't know what to expect of this.
I have no idea about Clemson. Like, who knows? Is Christopher Vizina the answer? I feel like if he was, we would have seen by now. But I can't rule it out. He has a lot of talent.
But that seems very reasonable, at least for Clemson, a 7.
Yeah, I think Clemson fans don't want to see them at 7.5 on the win total chart, but I think that's about right. I say 6.5 is too high for Florida State. I think they bottom out and fire Norvell at the end of the
Yeah,
year.
I think I don't see that one
I
happening.
think that's way too high for Florida State. There's no way they make a bowl game, in my opinion. Georgia Tech, NC State, Virginia Tech, Wake Forest. That's all kind of makes sense. I think Wake Forest, maybe, they're kind of a cyclical program, maybe putting a little too much stock into how they did last year. Although Dicker, kudos, man. That guy has the Deeks, playing hard last year, but I don't know about 7 wins.
The Duke number feels off, and I need to do a deep dive into why that number. I mean,
Do they have just a crazy schedule? I haven't looked at their schedule.
Yeah, that just. I mean, again, I got to go back into their roster. I mean, I know losing Darian Mintz is important, but my goodness, Manny Diaz.
I mean, they did struggle in some games last year.
I know, but
remember they struggled with UConn, and
they won the ACC championship.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was such a weird year, like, for Duke. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
It just I trust Manny Diaz. It feels like a little low.
Yeah, I think Boston College and Stanford is right on the money. I could see Syracuse being a surprise team to maybe get to a bowl, even though they're only at 4.5. Especially if there's Florida State and Duke and Wake are maybe not as good as we think. I keep an eye on maybe that Syracuse over 4.5. I like what they're doing up there in New York. So,
yeah, I agree. So, okay,
all right, Big 12.
Yeah,
there's a gap here.
There's a huge gap, and it's very clear. Texas, the 11.5 feels spot on for Texas Tech.
Right. They are elite. By the way, they now have all the 5 stars in the last offseason that everybody was hyping up about Tech and all the money they're spending. They're on campus now. They've got edge rushers that should be at Georgia and Bama and Ohio State on their team right now. And they're true freshmen. But if you don't think those guys will get playing time, you're wrong. They also have a 5-star offensive tackle that will probably see some playing time. They've got big guys. They've got fast guys. And yeah, they'll probably start a lot of true freshmen, and they will probably just blow out, I would say, most of the Big 12 teams that they face.
Yeah.
Not to mention Sorsby.
I question Utah at 8.5. I think there will be a drop-off there.
I think, people are kind of maybe underappreciating how good of a coach Kyle Whittingham is, which is why I kind of think that Michigan could surprise some people this year. I didn't get to that in the Big Ten one, but Whittingham is a fantastic coach. He has been. He's one of the best coaches in college football, and he's been that for 20 years. Him at Michigan, like, you could now. I'm wearing a Michigan shirt, but I could definitely see him surprising people. Arizona State at 6.5. I know they lost Levitt. That's really tough, but I mean, I think Dillingham's better than that. 6 and 7 win. Yeah, I feel like they at least get to 8.
Probably. Yeah. I think Oklahoma State's going to be. I think that's a good number for Oklahoma State. I think they probably hit that.
I'm excited to see Mestamaker. That's interesting. Baylor, I don't think Baylor gets 6 wins. I think they get 3 wins or they get 8 wins. And I think it completely depends on if DJ Lagway hits in that offense. And if he does, he's got, there's no doubt that he has maybe one of the most talented arms in all of college football. It's just putting it all together, being healthy, running the offense. And it's been struggles for him at Florida. So for Baylor, I think they're either going to light the world on fire or Dave Aranda will be gone. So while the 6.5 feels right as a number, I don't think they end up with 6 or 7 wins. I think it's either 8 wins or 3 wins.
Yeah, and the 5.5s, I can't disagree with those. I think all those have legitimate excuses for there. Although I think out of all that group, I kind of expect a little bit more from West Virginia this year.
Rich Rod, yes.
Yeah.
The Mountaineers party like it's 2007, baby.
Yeah.
I will say, I think we could see Iowa State have a huge drop off.
Yeah.
This could be another case like Utah. He moved on to the Big Ten. Matt Campbell, he moved on to Penn State. Amazing coach, Matt Campbell. He's the best coach in Iowa State football history. Iowa State has no football history. They only maybe, are bottomed by Colorado, which, oh boy, I don't know if you've looked at their recruiting classes, but when you're getting out recruited by FCS teams, that's not a good sign. So yeah, Iowa State and Colorado, I think, make up the bare bottom of the Big 12. But Kansas and UCF and West Virginia, I don't know about Scott Frost UCF. We'll see. Man, there's a lot of just like nostalgia, like weird coaches just kind of all over the place. Like, yeah, I don't know what to feel about this, but I think Texas Tech is the clear prohibitive favorite. I think, I think they'll probably win the conference. You never know what could happen in a one-game scenario in the conference title game, but I think they definitely 11 wins at a minimum.
Yeah.
So,
All
right. And let's go to, that's it. That's all we got. That is all she wrote. All right. So, do you want to talk about quarterbacks for 2026?
Yes, we need to do a Sweet 16 week. My bracket's busted.
My bracket's busted.
So
Everyone in America's bracket is busted.
We got to break out a new bracket, but let's make this bracket about quarterbacks.
Okay.
So where do you want to go?
I think, well, give me 1 second. I'm going to show you my bracket. This is what I have.
Can anybody see that? My God.
Can you see it? I don't know.
You got to zoom in a little bit there. Yeah.
How's that?
Yeah, keep going a little bigger there. Okay. We'll sort of figure that out. All right.
Okay. So, wait, hold on.
You can hit that little button at the bottom, plus
go
left to right.
Yeah. 1 second. Okay. All right. That's good enough. Okay. So here's my bracket. Number 1, I have Dante Moore. And number 2, I have Julian Sayin. Who are your 1 and 2?
Well, why don't you get your bracket? Then, my 1 and 2 are Dante and Julian.
Okay. So we agree there.
Yes.
Number 3, I have Arch Manning.
Number 3 is Arch Manning.
Okay. Number 4, I have John Mateer. Who do you have?
He didn't even make my 16.
Wow.
Yes.
I feel like we're going to have to disagree here. All right. Do you want to just go through my bracket and then we'll go to yours?
Yeah, why don't we do that? Because I think it'll be too confusing.
Okay. So up at the top, we have Dante Moore versus number 16, DJ Lagway. It's kind of a homer pick, but I had to throw him in there. At 16, you're splitting hairs anyway. Dante Moore wins and moves on to the Elite 8. The 8-9 matchup, I have Sam Levitt versus Gunnar Stockton. I think this is, you're betting on potential versus ceiling, or potential versus floor. And so I've got Sam Levitt moving on with the greater potential. Number 5-12 matchup, I have Trinidad Chambliss versus Brendan Sorsby. I think this kind of ties into how I think the teams will perform next year. I think Ole Miss regresses, and I think Texas, I spelled it wrong, but Texas Tech moves on there, and I think Texas Tech performs next year. 4-13, I have John Mateer and Damon Williams. I think John Mateer is the better quarterback there. I have him moving on to the Elite 8. Arch Manning, 3 versus number 14, Bryce Underwood. I have Arch Manning moving on, but I think Bryce Underwood deserves some inclusion in this list just from the raw talent perspective. If he can put it together with Kyle Whittingham, You never know what could happen. So there's just I'd
Okay.
say a little Cinderella upset potential there. I have CJ Carr at 6. I debated putting him higher, but he's kind of a true freshman, or he was a true
That's
freshman
exactly
last
where I
year.
have him
At 6.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I have him versus number 11, Jaden Maeva. I have CJ Carr moving on. 7, Darian Mensah versus 10, Josh Hoover. I have Josh Hoover moving on. I think they've got a 10/7 upset here. Darian Mensah, of course, at Miami.
You
think,
are crazy.
hey, you know what? You got to pick some upsets. You can't just go all chalk, all right? You got to pick some upsets. I think Josh Hoover will do really well at Indiana. I think Darian Mensah will also do well at Miami, but I think we just saw Indiana, Miami, so I had to go with the winner there. Julian Sayin versus I have 15, Lenore Sellers. I think he's kind of a sleeper in the SEC. He could really surprise some people. I don't think his team is going to be competing for national championships, but I think individually, I think he could really put on a stellar year. I have Julian Sayin coming out of there. And after that, we've got Sayin versus Josh Hoover. Unlike this year in the Big Ten, I've got Ohio State pulling out victorious. And I've got CJ Carr upsetting Arch Manning and moving on to the Final Four. I think I'm high on CJ Carr this year. I think he is accurate and he can run enough. He's not a super mobile quarterback, but he's willing to use his legs when necessary. I think he makes really good decisions, especially for a freshman. And and I've got Brendan Thorsby versus John Mateer. And this might have been a situation where you can get mad at the committee for seating Brendan Thorsby so low. There's an argument there, but I've got Thorsby moving on to number 12 versus Dante Moore. 1, Dante Moore wins and Julian Sayin wins, and then Dante Moore is your champion.
Okay. It's interesting. Ours is very, very similar. So I'll tell you mine. I can't put on the screen. My region 1, I'll call them the Blue Bloods. Okay. We got Sayin at 1.
Okay.
Ohio State versus Drew Mestamaker at Oklahoma State.
Ooh, 16. I debated him and Sellers right there.
Yeah. And so Sayin's going to move on. He's going to beat Mestamaker. That's just a 1-16 matchup. Ones don't lose to 16 very often.
Yeah.
And then my 8-9 matchup is going to be Josh Hoover at Indiana versus Jaden Maeva at USC.
Okay.
So now Jaden's going to win. Like most cases, the 9s usually beat the 8s. We always see that. Okay. Jaden's going to beat Josh Hoover. Hoover's going to throw an interception late. That'll seal the deal. All right. So Julian is going to play Jaden Maeva, and Julian's going to win that bracket. So my Blue Bloods, Julian's going to move on to the Final Four as my 1 seed. Then my second region, who's on that same side of the bracket, we got the breakout bosses, okay? We got Trinidad Chamberlain, okay, as the number 4 seed.
Okay.
All right. He's going to play Damon Williams.
Yeah.
13. Now, those 4-13 matchups can be tricky.
They can be tricky.
And I think Trinidad was doing too many commercials. Damon is going to take him down.
Really?
Yeah.
He won back the locker room.
So Damon of 13 seed will win out that. Now, again, this is the breakout bosses region. My number 4 is Brendan Thorsby, ready for a breakout season in Texas Tech. It's a 5.
Okay.
Versus Bryce Underwood. We're ready at Michigan, number 12. Bryce ready to step up. I think Brendan's going to have too much to go with him. So I think Brendan wins.
I agree. I'm high on him as well.
So then we have a 5 in Brendan versus a 13 Damon. I think Brendan will just have too much to go. So I think the 5 seed Brendan moves on to the Final Four in the breakout bosses region.
Okay.
So we've got Julian Sayin versus Brendan Thorsby on one side. Now let's go to the other region. We've got our next gen stars in this next region. We've got Dante Moore as the 2.
Okay.
He's playing number 15, Sam Levitt at LSU.
It's pretty low for Sam Levitt, 15.
Yeah. New offense, new QB. I think he struggled last year. Dante's going to win that one pretty easily.
That's like a Gonzaga mid-majors. Like, does that count?
I know. So then we got number 7, Darian Mensah. I'm a little higher on Darian than you are.
Yeah, okay.
And
he's good.
He's going to face Gunnar Stockton. Good, solid, dependable number 10 Gunnar Stockton.
I got Darian Mensah in that matchup.
Darian's going to win that one. Okay.
Yeah.
So we got Darian, number 2 versus number 7. Now, this one felt a lot like that Florida-Iowa matchup the other night. it just felt like a mismatch. But you just, somehow you just felt like maybe the lower seed was going to win. Dante's going to win this one. Okay. The higher seed will win this one. So I think Dante wins. So he wins my next gen stars bracket. Then I got the legacy and hype bracket. Okay. We got number 3, Arch Manning. All right.
Boy. I have Arch Manning at 3 also. That's so funny.
All right. He's going to face Lenora Sellers at 14. All the legacy and hype bracket. Arch will win that one. I think too much. Then you got the legacy and hype. You got legacy number 6 CJ Carr at Notre Dame.
Oh, the Lloyd Carr legacy at Notre Dame. And there's a lot of history in that combo.
Yes. Versus number 11 Noah Fafita at Arizona.
He's still around.
He's still around. Exactly. We've had a lot of hype about
I forgot about him.
There's a reason I call this the legacy and hype region.
I forgot about pint-sized Noah and his arc.
Listen, these 4 in this region, there's been a lot of hype about these guys at various times.
Yeah, there wasn't there?
Well, CJ is going to beat Noah. So then we get Arch and CJ. And I'm going to give Arch the benefit of the doubt.
Okay. I got the upset with Arch CJ. I got CJ, but understandable.
All right, so my final 4 is Arch versus Dante and Julian versus Brendan. So let's go to Dante versus Arch.
It's okay.
Sometimes the hype turns into a legacy. I have Arch 3 beating Dante 2.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Had you seen the videos already of him throwing to Cam Coleman?
No, but I can picture them in my head.
Yes. Well,
I have seen it. Yeah.
Picture it. All right. Arch will go on to the semifinals. Julian, because he throws Jeremiah Smith, and will eventually he's going to beat Brendan Sorsby. So then you get Julian versus Arch. And no matter what we think, Marshall
we get
Manning
this week 2, don't we?
We do get that week 2. And let me tell you about Arch. He's not the one that was promised. Marshall Manning is the one that is promised. Okay. Julian's saying we'll beat Arch.
He's not the chosen one.
Arch is not the chosen one. Marshall is the chosen one. Julian will beat Arch. Julian is my winner, my best quarterback for the year. He is my preseason Heisman favorite.
I see what you're saying.
Yes, I know. So listen, this list. I left DJ Lagway off of it. Who else? I left somebody else off that you had. Mateer.
Yeah. I don't understand how you left Mateer off of this.
There was somebody else. I left Bear Bachmeier off of it. I left who else did I leave? There was another person.
Yeah, I almost had Bear Bachmeier on here too.
There was a couple other people that I had to think about. What's interesting, and we're not an NFL show, but the 2027 NFL draft is going to be insane.
It's going to be insane, dude.
It could be the best. And I mean, yeah, the quarterbacks next year, we need to appreciate this in college football because I'm not sure we're ever going to see a year like this.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty nuts. So
now, how many of them are coming back? I mean, let's think about this for a second. You got 1, 2, 3, 4.
How many will be coming back next year?
6, 7
in 27?
8, 9, 10. 10 of my 16 are returning to their team. Like they're coming back this year. Like,
they're not new to their team.
They're not transfers. So I mean, we got a lot of veteran quarterbacks in their systems.
Yeah. Let me see. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I got 11. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, and the guys, like Darian Mintz is on his 3rd team, but he's super talented. Levitt's been around. I mean, this is I mean, again, quarterback is the glamour position. It always gets all the hype. But every time we turn around, there's going to be a great quarterback matchup this year.
Yeah. Yep. It's going to be crazy. I cannot wait.
No. But yeah, we do get Julian saying Arch Manning. I think it's week 2.
Is it 2 or 3?
2 or 3 in.
We get it early.
I'm pretty sure it's week 2 in Austin this time. It's not week 1. So, and it's
not going to afford tickets to that.
Yeah, good luck with that. There won't be a few Texas people that want.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, no, that was having a little fun with March Madness and the bracket. And
Yeah, ton of
I
fun,
think
ton of fun.
the interesting thing will be, as I look at this list, I mean, there's a lot of pressure on some of these guys. I mean, Bryce Underwood's got to perform for Michigan.
Oh yeah, dude, you're getting paid that kind of money, you better perform.
Arch has got to deliver this year.
Same thing with Sorsby, by the way. He got paid a lot of money to come to Texas Tech. And, it's really easy to make the checkdowns when you have no good receivers, but can you make the good passes when you have the good receivers? So,
I mean, CJ Carr, there's pressure on him this year. This is a good Notre Dame team.
Oh, yeah, they got him weapons. He's got to clean up some of the, he was a great freshman, but he was a freshman. You got to add, now you're a sophomore. You don't have that anymore. You got to be clean, crisp, and professional.
We're what? Almost in April. We'll be here before too long.
We're
Spring practice will be done. Yeah, we're getting there. So, no, I think we get together here the next our next episode, 2 or 3 weeks. We should have a lot more coming out of spring camps. A lot of them are just going to go. I think LSU just started today. I've seen some videos of some others. So,
yeah, I have as well. Cannot wait. Season is almost here. We are fast approaching, and it's gonna be a fun one. So,
anything else going on that we need to talk about?
Nothing that I can think of other than March Madness was fantastic. Love me some March Madness, and that's all she wrote.
Okay, all right. Well,
a little bit of a shorter episode, but
that's okay. It's the off season.
It is the off season. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe and follow on all the socials. And we'll see you next time.